Oops. Forgot my mic. Hey guys. You ready, Kaiwan? I thought I was ready. I had my mic not where it needed to be. My water's somewhere back there. I gotta go grab that too. But welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this Monday evening. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I had a great one. One sec. Now I got my water. Now I'm ready. And sorry about yesterday, guys. I'm some of you already know I'm getting ready for my show that's happening on August 30th. Hey Sandy. And I was just in the zone yesterday. I'm putting together kind of a new show. It's really just kind of how do I word it? Just revamping my first two shows into something that's a bit more cohesive, I guess. Cohesive. With some, cooler interludes, an extra song on the set. Tells more of a story about the world of madness. Extends some songs, remixes some songs. Upped the ante on the backtrack for sound effects and instrumentation that's not there in the original, and I don't know. I'm just really wanting to really up my game a little bit, and that's what I was doing yesterday, and even most of today as well. If I'm honest, just a couple hours ago, I sent the final backtrack / click tracks to my drummer AJ, so he can kind of go over everything. But yeah, so it's exciting. I'm a little nervous because it's it's essentially doing a new show, but most of the same songs. I don't know. Just trying to be a little extra and a little bit more spicy. I'm excited. And I'm hoping that my outfit gets in on time before the show. It might not, and I have a plan B just in case. But yeah, it's been a crazy weekend in terms of doing that stuff, but as well as just having a chaotic weekend to begin with. I got to see my boys calling all captains, and I got to see Cara West, which is the Caravana of the West Edmonton, kind of thing, which I haven't been to in a few years, so it was cool to be back, and I saw a friend performing there as well, so lots of good stuff. I hope y'all can hear me well. I'm slightly under the weather. I got a bit of a sore throat yesterday, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. Am I calling Blaze for some pointers? I should give Blaze a shout. She's touring with Miguel soon, probably, potentially. Not the only one in chat. Sandy's here too. Click to live chat instead of top chat. What was I gonna say? But yeah. Oh, hey, Allison. Yeah, she might be touring with Miguel. How cool would it be to have Ricky Martin back, y'all? I know he ain't coming back, but he seemed very fond of his time on General Hospital. He had an interview on, I think, Jimmy Kimmel. It was either Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, one of those late night talk shows, and he talked very fondly about General Hospital when they showed a throwback picture of him. He's got Lois back. Sonny's still there. They could have him interact with some new people, even if it's just for a guest appearance. But with that said, Welcome to General Hospital Envy, my GH after show. Um, what do you mean, what, Angel? Really liked Ricky. Ricky Martin. He's gorge. He's gorge. I love him. I love his music too. He was on Jimmy Kimmel. Ricky Martin. We were just not too recently, but like within this past year for sure. And he talked about GH and how he was fond of being on there. And we brought Ricky Martin up because Blaze brought up, well, Brooklyn technically brought up Miguel in today's show. And Miguel is who he played. Not that I think he's coming back, but it would be pretty great if he did. It'd be pretty rad. But anyway, let's get into it. Last week was just a little bit crazy, right? After taking a swan dive out of the window of Ava Jerome's Metrocourt suite and into the Metrocourt pool after tripping over Jagger's luggage. So crazy. Kristina ended up losing the baby. And I think that Kate Manzi and Kristen Vaganos, I think it is, who plays Molly, and Kate plays Kristina, they did a wonderful job. Portraying their heartbreak and the grief of it all. Molly pretty much, yeah, Ricky Martin, living la vida loca. But he's got so many more songs than that, Angel. He's got like decades of hits. His newer stuff has actually like been pretty decent the last few years. But yeah, anyway, Molly pretty much lays into Sonny, blaming him for the whole thing. And it puts Sonny into a dark enough place that he ends up on the hospital rooftop, ready to end it all, literally ready to end it all. And the person to stop him is none other than Morgan Corinthos. Brian Craig reprised the role for one episode. He came at him as either a hallucination or a ghost, left up to our interpretation, I'm guessing, just in case they decide to bring him back for real one day. I do appreciate the callback since Sonny once talked Morgan off that same roof back in the day when Morgan was spiraling out of control because he was off his meds. At least I think he was off his meds, or he was just figuring out that he got bipolar disorder maybe. But yeah, I do appreciate that callback though. I also appreciated the green screen that they used when they kind of angled Sonny from like a top angle, and you could actually see like moving traffic below. It was good. It was cool. It reminded me of like the green screen that they used to do for the hospital roof, where you could actually see the entire like skyline. They mostly did it on night shift, but it snuck into GH a couple times as well. But yeah, anyway, the prompts. This prompt, Sonny to go see Kevin to talk about what's happening. Kevin ends up running tests, and by the next day, Sonny learned that he has no lithium in his system, as if he's been taking placebos. And on top of that, Donna had ended up eating some of those pills, Daddy's vitamins, not knowing that they were placebos, obviously. And Carly and Joss rushed her to the hospital to get her stomach pumped. And of course, there was no lithium in her system either. It kind of felt pointless given that Sonny was going to find out the truth anyway, but here we are. Naturally, everyone assumes Ava did it. She lived with him, had plenty of opportunity to do it. She's done it before, and technically, she did do it again. The only difference is that they were already tampered with long before she touched them. And that ends up being her saving grace for now. More on that later, though. What are y'all saying in the chat? What am I missing here? Carly needs to fire the staff who didn't call her. Yeah! Carly wasn't even told about it. That was crazy that she didn't learn anything. I forgot about that, Angel. Thanks for reminding me. That was crazy. Allison, you said, what hotel has windows that week? Exactly. Like what happened? Carly's back. Suddenly the windows are flimsy and the elevator gets stuck. Angela, you said I was a child when he was popular. My mom had a crush on Ricky Martin. I know the 90s hits only. I mean, I was a 90s kid. I was born in 1990. but I kept up with him. Like he. I feel like he did more in his country post sort of that era. But like he was releasing stuff here too, and doing collaborations with like Jennifer Lopez and all these people, and so and he's been touring. He's been touring America and Canada, so like several times the last few years. So I'd pay attention every now and then to his music, and he released some good stuff. Now he wasn't a one-hit wonder over there, because there was "Livin' La Vida Loca," but there was also "She Bangs," there was "Shake Your Bon Bon," there was that World Cup song. What was it? Do you really want it? Ole ole ole, here we go. He had quite a few hits in the '90s, man. Don't be cutting Ricky like that. Told you Ava will be killed off. Well, we don't know that yet. She's still alive. But anyway, back to it though. But yeah, so Ava's already in hot water. Did anyone call Olivia? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Ava's already in hot water because of what happened with Kristina. Even more so with Brick's surveillance, showing some pretty damning evidence against her that makes it look like she did in fact push Kristina out the window. We know she didn't. But it looks pretty bad. Jason had gotten that evidence from Brick, and he handed it over to Anna. Ava had already lied to the PCPD, saying she never laid a hand on her, and also replacing the bags with shoes, which made the idea of her falling out of a window so forcefully made it look really unbelievable. Anyway, Kevin balanced Sonny out with some temporary meds that helped him see a lot more clearly. So Sonny and Jason are broskies again. And what was I gonna say? I've lost place in my notes. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so yeah, Ava. Jason and Sonny are broskies again, and he sends Jason to the PCPD to get answers from Ava. Now, Jason ends up confronting Ava from her prison cell about the placebo Sonny was on, and she tells, well, like a half-truth anyway. Someone else messed with Sonny's meds. She just happened to stumble upon that by accident, and she's only guilty of keeping quiet. And that was the case for a while until the custody hearing. And of course, Ava's going to use not giving full answers to Jason as leverage to keep herself from dying on Sonny's watch. Will it happen? I don't know. The thing is, other than the doctor that she blackmailed, Ava doesn't have a clue who did it. She just knows that guy knows who did it, but she doesn't know who did it. And the person who did it is out of town, Valentine Cassadine, you guys know. And I doubt Jack Brennan is going to throw him under the bus either. Ava had already told Jagger about the doctor, though, and we didn't really see much of a follow-up from that yet. Perhaps he makes the doctor disappear under witness protection, or he uses him to find out who originally messed with Sonny's meds. I don't know. I guess we'll see this week, probably. But yeah, let's get back to Kristina and Molly and TJ for just a little bit. It's true what they say. People all handle their grief very differently from each other in very different ways. TJ, he's putting himself in the presence of his loved ones, Stella, Curtis, and Jordan. Not sure where Marshall is. We haven't seen him in a minute. Molly, on the other hand, handles grief by throwing herself into things that she can control, mainly work, but also seeing to it that Ava knows the gravity of what she had done, or at least what Molly believes she did. Molly also just has been majorly avoiding dealing with the actual grief part of things. She's avoiding TJ, she's avoiding naming the child, she's avoiding preparing a service for the child, a tombstone, a gravesite. She's just been avoiding him for everything. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if what's going on with Molly and TJ will be something that they'll even be able to come back from. I mean, when parents lose a child, it's natural to lean on each other, and they're doing the opposite. TJ's trying. He was basically, I don't want to get into too much about today's episode, but he was basically begging Molly to just be there, be with him through this. Like, he's saying, I can't do this on my own. I need you. And she's just sort of, you know, a wall. Like, I don't know. I get the sense that when they shared a scene together today, and she's seen that he needs her, she was only doing it because, like, she felt bad, but, like, you could tell that she wanted to be literally doing anything else. Be literally anywhere else and be doing anything else. Now, Kristina's path of grief is just pure vengeance. She wants Sonny to take care of Ava. I guess now that her eyes are wide open to the things that Sonny is capable of, which, again, I'm just going to say that she was. They just rewrote it so that she wasn't all of a sudden. Until she was again. But yeah, now she's ready to embrace that side of Sonny. Truthfully, I think that Sonny would go after Ava regardless if Kristina asks him to or not. Because, you know, in his eyes, she's done a lot. And she hasn't paid for most of it. But yeah, so Alexis obviously is demanding that Sonny doesn't kill Ava because Kristina's struggling enough as it is without having Ava's dead body on her conscience. So I get it, but surely Alexis knows that Sonny hates Ava just as much, and like he's gonna do what he wants to do. And Sonny basically said that to Alexis as well. Like, Ava's my problem. I'm gonna handle it. Like I'm gonna handle it how I would handle it, even if Kristina didn't ask me to. So kind of implying that he's going to take care of her in some kind of way. We'll see what that means, though. I'm surprised TJ and Kristina haven't talked, you said. I'm not. TJ clearly blames Kristina. And I think because he probably is smart enough to know that she's going through her own hell with this, that it's best to just not engage. Just leave that where it is. Let Molly handle Kristina until they get through this portion of the grief. You know what I mean? Okay, I gotta scroll up. Allison, you asked were the pictures of Jason had of Ava pushing Kristina out the window doctored with? No, because it wasn't really a picture of her pushing her out the window, just that she laid a hand on her. It doesn't necessarily show that she pushes her out a window, but it automatically sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? It proves that Ava was lying about laying a hand on Kristina, and then, you know, they see her, from what it appears to be, putting her hand on Kristina. And that could be interpreted as pushing her. So it just looks damning. It doesn't prove it without a shadow of a doubt, but it's pretty damning. They weren't doctored with. They caught a moment that genuinely happened, but it wasn't, you know, what ended up having Kristina go over. What happened was Ava grabbed Kristina, I think by the arm or by the shirt, and Kristina pulled back and then tripped over the luggage, Jagger's luggage. Rick, you said new Jagger will be gone. Jack is either a good guy or a bad guy, still being a WSB agent. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Jagger left, because honestly, like, what are they doing with him? What a mess. Turn Jason into a robot again. Jason is back to being Sonny's stooge. Maybe Jagger. They have to rest Valentine to make sure he's off screen and bring back Charlotte for Lulu. Ricky said, but the WSB has always been in Port Charles since the 80s. This is true. Well, I mean, that's why they said they have a WSB sort of box, right? Or sort of like an office there. and now Jack just happens to be in it. I think we're to presume that someone else has been there the whole time too. Sandy, you said, why haven't they seen her hold the baby? Good question. I don't know. Maybe the way that Kristina landed, you wouldn't want to see that baby. I don't know. Maybe it happened off screen. Ricky said new Lulu will show up. Yeah, she is being recasted, but we're probably still a long way from that. At least a couple months out. Angel, you said, I think people forget that this is the second child TJ has lost within the year. This is true. Yeah, TJ's struggling, and rightfully so. That's 2 babies. I mean, the first baby, like, she wasn't too super far along, but like the second one, like, they were like just a couple weeks out from her giving birth. Like, that's crazy. That's sad. Angela said they probably have, and we didn't see. Oh yeah, exactly. Ricky said the show needs a new executive producer to work with the writers, like Wendy Rich did in the 90s. They need something. We'll talk about the writers in a bit, because obviously they debuted them last week. TJ needs to move on and say goodbye to the Davis girls. I mean, honestly, he might be better off. Alright, I think I'm mostly caught up to the chat. Is it psychologically damning for men to say, and Molly is being really unsympathetic? I mean, it's psychologically damaging to both. Not just the men. It is to her too, even though she's not biologically related. She's just like not handling this well. Still don't see it as racist that the baby didn't make it. I don't either. Obviously, that's a swope Twitter thing, and that's things like that is why I'm not on there. So it is what it is. But yeah, so we kind of talked about this a little bit, but Kristina is pushing away her partner as well. Again, this happened in today's episode. We'll talk about the details over the this weekend. But like I mentioned earlier, Miguel was mentioned, and I appreciated... Oh, that's my dog barking, sorry. I appreciated the Ricky Martin callback. But yeah, my guess is that Kristina doesn't want Blaze around for when she ultimately seeks vengeance on Ava. But alright, so now let's get into the writers swap. So the writing team, that is Elizabeth Corte and Chris Van Etten, officially kicked in last week. Truthfully, I'm really not expecting much different from when Chris and Dan were the team. Elizabeth was always kind of there writing a lot of their scripts underneath them. The only difference is that they now have an associate head writer on top of that. I don't know what that entails. It's Kathy Lepard. She was a breakdown writer and a script writer who's now been promoted to this new thing. I don't think we had an associate head writer before, at least to my knowledge, not recently. But with this change, I'm guessing the switch is why so many of these stories ended abruptly all of a sudden. Kristina losing the baby instantly, Sonny finding out about his meds all of a sudden, also noticeable just when we finally thought we caught a break when it comes to the ridiculous Heather Weber cobalt poisoning story, when Heather begged to stay in prison and Laura agreed to back off. In walks Scotty Baldwin, saying that Heather is entitled to compensation to sue the company for negligence so she can get a pretty penny as a result. And Heather, of course, is now super into it and super into getting to have a house where Ace can come and visit her. So obviously she's now wanting to get out of jail. And I'm torn a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I just hate how heavy-handed this storyline is. It just reminds me of the Franco shit we went through. But like, the difference is, to me, like, Allie Mills is so likable. Like, I just like her. But also, I'd be perfectly content with her staying in prison and just people popping in and visit her for, like, as long as she wants to be on the show. Like, I'd be content with that. I don't need to see her out doing things out in public and like always wondering if she's gonna crack and go crazy again, you know? Wonder if they'll make Miguel gay. I mean, they could. They could. I mean, he technically is a parallel to Ricky Martin. They, as you guys know, and I think we watched this, GH went on location to Puerto Rico and went to a Ricky Martin concert, and they just were like, it's Miguel. Like, so, like, they could do that again, and just, like, Ricky's sort of career is just a window into Miguel's, or just like a parallel, I guess. But I don't think we're gonna get that far, truthfully. Anyway, I think that we're not gonna see Miguel. Ricky Martin's not gonna come back. I know he loved the show, but like, dude is doing like primetime shows. He's got a pretty heavy music career going for him. He's a busy man. He ain't coming back to a soap. But yeah, anyway, Heather was taken to GH from Pentonville, sorry, for a follow-up, and got a very cold welcome from the chief of staff, Portia. And Felicia witnessed Portia trying to rush Heather back to Pentonville as soon as possible, and Felicia called her out on not giving her proper care, and Portia basically threw a tantrum. Felicia reminded her that she's just a patient advocate, she's just doing her job. And Portia makes some kind of comment that's like, her victims were patients too, why didn't you advocate for them? And I'm like, they weren't, like, Felicia wasn't even a patient advocate when Heather was on her killing spree. Oh, man. But yeah. I get Portia going on the sort of defense against Heather. Like, her daughter was her main target for a long time, or at least the reason being for all those killings. But she's the chief of staff. She needs to, like, just leave her to be someone else's problem. Like, don't engage. Just go. The chief of staff does not need to be in the room of every patient. Kaiwan, he said, I mean, Allie Mills was on another soap for so many years. We can't pass up the idea not to have her for at least a few years. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just also saying, like, she doesn't necessarily have to be out of jail for that to happen. It's worked all this time. They bring her out to go to the hospital for checkups. Angel, you said Heather been wanting to play the long game since Laura said she was going to stop. I don't think she is. I think she is truly remorseful and hates what she did. But also, she was batshit crazy before the cobalt poisoning. So, and I've pointed this out. She murdered before this killing spree. She killed Steve's girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. So, maybe others? I'm probably forgetting, but she for sure at least killed one. She's for sure killed one person. But yeah, Trina got to confront Heather as well. Honestly, I feel like these were the best scenes that Trina has had since before Elizabeth and Patrick were a writing team. Obviously, there's a bit of cringe with it. Trina believes that she should get the right kind of sort of justice for the situation that she's in. Assuming that she is remorseful. So we know in a way she's like, well, you weren't directly responsible for these deaths, but at least they had Trina not forgive her. So I feel like they gave it enough that, like, I didn't completely write off the scenes. And I think Tabiana did a great job with the scenes as well and showed really, true, authentic looking emotion behind it. And I think, I don't know. I think that that's the best we could ask for given the story. And it was inevitable because Chris Van Etten, Allie's gone on record saying that it was Chris's idea to do the story in the first place. She was the first to let it slip that Chris got rehired as the head writer months before it was announced. It was only announced like the week before, but like Allie literally mentioned it on the red carpet at the Emmys, and apparently everybody overlooked it. I didn't. I've been talking about it ever since. I've been like, well, right now we're just seeing like Elizabeth, but like we know Chris is the new head writer with her. So, you know, yes, I'm saying I told you so. But yeah, overall with the story, I'm not here for it. It just feels like Franco 2.0 for me, and I hated that story. I feel like there's a lot more leeway with this Heather story because of how it's sort of gone about. But also it'll come down to what happens next, you know? Because with Franco, there were things that he was doing that were incredibly dark after his tumor was removed. So, you know. But yeah, another thing I noticed with Chris and Elizabeth's team thus far had to do with Willow and Drew and their situation. The two of them, they got stuck in an elevator last week, and I don't know if it's just me that got the vibe, but I got the vibe that this attraction seems a lot more one-sided all of a sudden. Like, Willow, when the elevator broke down, was basically, like, fawning all over him, like, with her eyes. Not, like, pouncing him or anything, but you could tell that she was like, oh my god, we could do anything in this elevator. She, like, that was the vibe that she was given, and it felt like Drew was just kind of chilling. Like, he doesn't seem too broken up about it. Like, and that's interesting because under Patrick and Elizabeth, it was very much like, you know, maybe if in another life we could be together. On Drew's part, now Drew's like, he don't really care much, and you know, today we saw him with Nina a little bit, so it's crazy that they're making it more one-sided. I mean, am I the only one that feels that way? Let me know in the chat. But I feel like that's what I got the vibe of today, that they're kind of switching gears. And also, Willow is wanting to go back to being a nurse at GH. You know, she's that, like, into him that she's like, I need to get away from him. So, I don't know. Willow wants Drew naked. Oh, yeah, probably. Making Drew more into Edward like a player. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate Willow being a nurse again, though. Like, GH has nobody there, right? Like, they've gotten rid of most of their doctors and nurses. All we see is Elizabeth and Portia and TJ. And, like, the extras that they bring in that nobody knows the names of, but they appear every now and then. Don't really have a story of their own. We don't really know their first names. So, you know. Angeli said Drew is playing the field. He being a hoe. Oh, yeah, he's a bit of a man-hoe for sure. Oh, where was I in the notes? Oh, yeah, so another notable thing that that we saw happening, I guess, notable is a strong word. Jocelyn and Dex, they're having sex again, which is essentially all that couple did in the first place. So that's back to normal, I guess. But like a cute thing that happened, not with Dex and Joss, obviously, but something cute that we saw with another couple was that Kevin and Laura celebrated Kevin's birthday in a small way. You know, they were both very busy being a doctor and being the mayor, but she stopped in and brought him a cupcake and, you know, said that she might have a little treat for him at home if he gets there. And this is before Sonny walked in, by the way, to, like, get help from Kevin. Maxie knows now. Yeah, Maxie does know the truth. We'll talk about that more on the weekend, but yeah, Maxie knows the truth. I correct me if I'm wrong. Was Maxie's hair this blonde last week? By the way, I it just seems really like white blonde, like bright blonde, and I don't know if I'm liking it. I feel like when she's blonde, it looks better when it's like a little bit darker or has like layers to it, you know, like in terms of like coloring. Just darker tones. Yeah, I don't know. Just a little bit too like light blonde for me, but you know, everything else, they're dressing her better. She looks great physically as well. You know, obviously I think by now I'm sure some of us are questioning how it happened so fast, but to that I just say more power to her, you know. Oh, you had to pirate the episodes? Oh, okay. Maxie's hair was darker, but I like it blonde. She had to go on stage just to get her natural blonde hair back. Oh, maybe. I don't know. It's just a little bit too bright for me. I like when she has tones in her hair. But yeah, back to Laura and Kevin for just a second. I want to see more of them. That's what I say in my notes. I want to see more of them. And I think that we might, or at the very least we'll see more of Laura for sure, because we're getting Laura's kids back, Lucky and Lulu. Lucky we'll probably see by September, and Lulu, they've only just announced that they're looking for a recast. I know that there's been speculation on, like, who could be playing her, but nothing's been confirmed by, like, legitimate sources yet, so I'll just refrain from looking into things too deep until we get confirmation on who the actress really is from, like, whether it's like Soap Central or like Soaps in Depth, one of those, or GH themselves. So yeah, I don't know. We did talk about this a little bit on last Wednesday, but obviously in a perfect world I'd love Julie back. She's not going to come back. Emmy Ryland was told that they won't be inviting her back. So my only hope is that they have someone that can play her similarly to how Julie did, that looks the part as well. Like, you know, Julie really did look like Tony and Jeannie a lot. Like, it was like almost daunting a little bit when she was first cast. And she played up to their mannerisms and their personalities so well too. Like, I don't know if Julie made the effort to study them and sort of get some insight on Luke and Laura. I know that she, back in the day, she didn't know who Luke and Laura were before joining GH and, like, their legacy. And I think regardless of that, she seemed to play her pretty well. They casted someone already for Lulu. Have actual legitimate like sources confirmed though, because I know that someone threw in the air that I think an actress from All My Children, but like there wasn't confirmation from like Soaps in Depth or like Soap Central or what have you. So until then, it's a rumor, if that's what you're referring to. Hey, I've been a fan of Kirsten Storm since Xenon as well, okay? I adore Kirsten Storms. I grew up with her, just like you did. But I don't know, I think for the character of Maxie, the darker tone suits the character's personality more. That's all. I think Kirsten herself, if she was not on the show and she was that hair color, hey Nathan, I think if she was that hair color, I'd be like, okay. You know, but like, I don't know. The way that I see Maxie and how Maxie a lot of the times has that sort of like darker tones, I just prefer that. But yeah, that's kind of all I had on my notes. it was a pretty decent week on GH last week, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this week. Allison, you remember Kirsten on Duel as Belle? I remember how big of a thing it was when they got Jason Cook on the show because of, I'm assuming that character, right? Because they were a couple on that show, and then they kind of put them together on this one. What about that episode of That's So Raven? Oh yeah, she was on That's So Raven too. I'm gonna go onto Disney Plus and find that episode. Yeah, Nathan, you kind of missed the whole show. We were talking about the hospital and Monday's episode as well, but we're already done talking about the show, unfortunately. But yeah, we saw a lot of the hospital today, and what I said, what you must have missed, which I said pretty recently just before you hopped in. I'm glad that Willow is working there again. The show needs more doctors and nurses on there. I hope we get to see them more. I hope that I'm even down to get new characters that become doctors or that are doctors that like moved from a different hospital that can be characters both in and out of the hospital. But we need to see doctors. We don't have any doctors doctoring there. We barely see TJ doctoring because he's too busy, trying to have a kid with Molly. But yeah, no, like the GH needs more doctors, and they need to make the hospital the heart again. And I feel like we definitely lost that with Patrick and Elizabeth for the brief time that we had them. Like it seemed like I just remember like the first couple of days under Pat and Liz, like it felt like they were gonna focus more on the hospital. We had hospital scenes for like those couple of days, and then it just somewhere not long after that everything went out the window. Every character became a different character. Hey de Havilland, caught me live. Well, I hate to say it, but we're ending it soon. I'm sorry, but yeah. We need a woman doctor of color for TJ. I mean, we need a woman doctor of color. It doesn't necessarily have to be for TJ. Yeah, you guys are right though. Like they need. Oh, good night, Sandy. They do need GH to be a focal point on the show. The show is called General Hospital, for God's sakes. Write it somewhere in the show. It's not that hard. Like, for real though. For real. Yeah, no, they need to bring some hospital stories and make the hospital interesting. It's not impossible. There are very successful hospital shows. Okay? Angel, you said you watched the new interview of Brian Craig on State of Mind. Apparently when Maurice had to leave for mental health, they thought of recasting him because he was gone for 2 weeks. Well, I think Maurice addressed that even before this interview, because I remember him saying on like Instagram that they were worried that they would have to recast him for a while. Like, obviously it would have been temporary, but like he was back quickly enough that they didn't have to, and they could work around it. Patrick and Robin was the best of the hospital, GH. Yeah, like in our era for sure. But obviously, from the 60s to the 80s, there were some pretty solid, hospital couples that really were popular on the show as well. And even in the 90s. But Robin and Patrick were kind of like the last sort of big presence in the hospital. And now there isn't really one. Nathan, you said Grey's Anatomy, ER, New Hope. Exactly. Okay, well, honestly, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me either. You're shocked that they would even think of recasting temporarily? Well, like, why? Like, realistically, like, let's say that Maurice's mental state, you know, was worse than it was, and he had to be gone for a long period of time, not knowing that it was like a couple weeks. They'd have to recast him for a while. They've done it with other characters that were, like, big, that you couldn't imagine it. Monica, for instance. But, like, you know, as long as they acknowledge that it is a temporary thing, like, I think it would be fine. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the show today, guys. Before I end things for realsies, though, I will say I'm gonna be taking a break from Wednesday streams for the next couple of weeks, just because, I'm trying to prepare my show, as I mentioned at the start of the stream. My live show, my live performance, it's coming up on August 30th. And, I want to practice and make sure everything goes off without a hitch. At least the things that are in my control. So I'm going to take any downtime that I have and just really focus on, rehearsing on my own and rehearsing with the band when we can, and just making sure everything is good to go for the 30th. Yes, you will see me Sunday, absolutely. What do I think of Carly and Brennan? I don't hate him. I feel like they brought this guy on to be like Robert Scorpio 2.0, because where is Robert? And this guy acts exactly like him. I don't hate them, but yeah, I like, they might as well put her with him. Obviously, Carly and Drew's never going to happen again. And I don't personally want Carly and Jason, and I don't want Carly and Sonny. So I'm down for this. But yeah, I will see you guys this upcoming Sunday. Taking a break from Wednesdays. I'll start to post performance-related or rehearsal-related content on the shorts on here, just so you guys have a little window into what I'm getting up to. But y'all, I spent hours and hours and hours and hours the last few days, like, finessing everything in terms of mixing. Now I gotta rehearse. And I know it's a lot of the same songs, but like, there is a new one in there. It's a different order. There's different things that I'm going to be doing performing wise, and including like some unhinged stuff that I'm hoping I can pull off. Wish me luck, y'all. I mean, obviously, I'll tell you how it goes on the 31st, or no, I guess it would be September 1st. Will be the first stream after the show, but yeah. First or second, whatever the calendar day, whatever Sunday falls after the 30th. All right, but yeah, we'll talk about GH this Sunday. I hope it's a good week. I have hope. Some hope. But yeah, if you like this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys this weekend. Peace out. Mwah.